May Finlay. I've been following her on Twitter for some time as well. So Summer May Finlay is a Yorta Yorta woman. She is also on the National Organising Committee for this Congress, so we have to thank her for that too. She's a social justice and public health writer and a current PhD candidate, and she's here today to talk about her work in the Just Justice campaign. So I'm just going to exit out of here and get that ready. So let's welcome Summer May for her presentation.
It's also out. So for those of you that are on Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm currently periscoping the event, so if you've got any questions, make sure they're nice because everyone's going to hear about them. Make that laugh. I knew that laugh. So I said my name's Summer May Finlay. I am a Yorta Yorta woman, and before I go any further, I would just like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation on whose land we're meeting today. Acknowledgements are really appropriate, and I'm always really privileged when I'm on someone else's country. So where am I from? I'm a Yorta Yorta woman, so I'm actually, my mob is from Victoria, but I grew up on a Wapapal country, which is that beautiful lake you're seeing there, Lake Macquarie. I always like to show photos of that because I actually work from home, so if I do speak to you, this is what I'm looking at while I'm talking to you over the phone. And I also like to acknowledge my family. My family is one of the reasons that I can stand here and do what I do, and it's really important for me to always acknowledge those people that have supported me and come along the journey with me, and also my ancestors that have laid the ground for me to be here today. So they're my brothers, they are the two most important men in my life, and my mum and dad. So I thought I'd back up here because it is an international conference, what the Aboriginal definition of health is. It's not dissimilar to the WHO definition, which looks at health not just being the absence of disease, but also looks at healthy spirit, it looks at healthy communities, and that's one of the things that really prompted Just Justice. So Just Justice, what is it? It is a campaign that we started quite organically, and again, we've been hearing about the evaluations, and I guess what I wanted to start here and talk to you about today is what can you actually do? So Just Justice actually talks about the over-incarceration of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. I won't go into the statistics, they're pretty horrible, they're all over the news, and if you want to find out more, just read our book. And with Just Justice, it started out of a really organic conversation that Melissa Sweet, who's in the audience over there, who is the founder of Croaky and also We Public Health, had with Tom Calma. Now, Tom Calma is a previous Social Justice Commissioner, amazing fella. Had a conversation with me, and actually at the PHAA Christmas party, we decided we were going to start writing some stories about the over-incarceration of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Now, we wanted to take a different focus than what most mainstream media takes, which is kind of negative and deficit. We wanted to actually look at strengths-based and solutions, which is really what's actually going to make a difference. We can read about statistics all we like, but what we actually need to know is what's going to actually work in communities. One of the things we also wanted to do is actually preference Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's voices. We often find that people speak about us, but we often don't get a platform to speak for ourselves. Our communities have been living with our culture and our communities, and also through the process of colonisation. We actually understand what's going on in our communities better than anybody else in the country. We understand what our communities need. We know what's happening, and we are the ones that really need to be driving it. So very grateful that we have this platform where we can privilege Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's voices. I think I must have stuffed up the slide. So we did, somewhere along here, I do actually need to mention, and there is some photos of the team. So I'm usually the one that's shoved up the front to talk, because I am the one that probably talks the most. But we have Melissa Sweet, and we also have Mitchell Ward, Meg Williams, and Mari McInerney. So it is a team effort. Now it is done through Croaky, which if you don't know Croaky, it is really a social justice platform for media, and it is fantastic. Here's the team. Now here's all our Twitter handles too, so if you don't already follow us, you probably should. They're all really deadly crew. So we also have a large number of supporters. So I've already mentioned Tom Calma, but Mick Gooda actually supported this right from the get-go as well, and did a video for us because we were a crowd-funded campaign, and that really helped us get over the line. Luke Pearson, Tim Senior, Kelly Briggs and Mark Scully, all really awesome fellas that have been supporting us. And I guess that's one of the other things that's really important about Just Justice. It's just a bunch of people that came together to do something good. And when we actually actually look at what we've actually achieved, we've had a significant impact in terms of reach. Now, some people, particularly in the academic community, talk about, does social media really make an impact? I went to something and someone said, oh, isn't it just an echo chamber? Aren't you just talking and preaching to the converted? It's amazing actually that how you can bring people along with you when you've got strong people behind you, really good promotional skills, like I've learned from Melissa, and also just people with passion and speaking from the heart. So these are taken from Simpler, so if you guys you probably know about Simpler. We've had over 118 million impressions. Almost 5,000 people have engaged with this on Twitter alone. That's pretty impressive. And I also like the average of 2 tweets an hour. I think that's pretty awesome. A whole range of people have been involved. So what we actually did was we wrote or commissioned a whole bunch of articles, and we didn't really put a limit on it. We thought we'd get like 1 a month. What we've ended up doing is having about 90 plus stories in 18 months on the over incarceration of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. People have written them from community level, so people who have been incarcerated or have been impacted by people that have been in jail and their family. We've actually had Aboriginal organisations, a whole range of things, and we really did take that holistic approach to health. So justice does really have an impact on health. We're not just talking about people who have high rates of Hep C or HIV because they're in jail. We're actually talking about how it affects you when you get out of jail in terms of your health, how it affects your community and your family. So in terms of having impact, we've actually been bipartisan. It is going to take all political parties coming to the party to actually make a difference. Very lucky to have interviewed this wonderful man, for those that don't know him. This is Ken Wyatt. He is the first minister that we've got having this in this federal parliament, and also is the Minister for Indigenous Health. Quite happy he'd be Prime Minister one day. So we actually interviewed him, and it's really important that we've actually, he's a Liberal, and they're traditionally quite conservative, and to have a Conservative Party actually engage with us really shows to me that, again, a bunch of people who are just really committed can actually make a difference and really have those dialogues. And we also had, I've been invited to go and speak to other ministers as well, shadow ministers, about this issue. So, I know that health mob and academics aren't traditionally great at media, but you can be good at it, and it can work to your advantage, particularly if you're in there to actually not be just about your career, but actually be about the people that you're researching. You really can make a difference, and I really encourage all academics to get media training because you need it. It's useful. And we also did a bunch of memes, and Mitchell Ward is fabulous. That is Melissa's husband, and he does all the pretty stuff. So again, these are things that went viral on Twitter and Facebook. I always forget about Facebook because I don't love it as much. Most of what we did was on Twitter. Oh, I should actually go back. So the other things that we did, we launched a book last year. So part of it was a crowdfunded campaign, and we had 339 individual supporters, which is fantastic. Just individual people around the country thinking that this is something that they need to do. And we ended up getting $30,000. Most of that money went to paying for community members' stories. A lot of Aboriginal community are expected to do things with a lot of the community while everyone else gets paid. What we decided to do, even though it was only small amounts of money we could give them, is value them and their stories by actually paying them where we could. If they were in a job full-time and working in the justice space, we didn't, because we wanted to make sure that we really did get it down to people on the ground. And that was something that we found really, really important, is actually having people share their lived experiences with us. Now, when I talked about we were crowdfunded, we did have 2 major supporters, which was the Jesuit Social Services and also Frank Meany from One Vision. Without these guys, we wouldn't have been able to do it. And I actually am really grateful to Frank, who has done a lot of work for us as well, supporting us. And with the book, we actually launched it, Tom Carmel launched it in November last year, and we sold out about 50 hard copies in the night, so we're pretty happy about that. And Western Sydney University then also donated some money to us so we could get some more books printed so that we can two things we'd like, and there's a bunch of researchers in the room, so we'd like to have this evaluated. So if anyone wants to put their hands up and has some money, that would be great. But the other thing that we're wanting to do is actually find some more money to continue telling stories. We thought it would end when the book ended. We anticipated we'd get our lives back, but it turns out that that's not quite what everybody else had anticipated for us. So we post this conference, because this has been all consuming, and Melissa's just submitted her PhD, we are going to start looking at how we can continue funding this. So,
Thank you.
oh, and another plug, we've just started another campaign called Just Climate, because we don't have enough to do, and that's actually talking about justice